Hi there, it's Mr. Clark. Welcome to lesson 8.2.1 on diminished triads. So you already know what diminished triads are. You have 1, flee, and fly. So now we're going to look at them in the context of diatonic harmony. So here, the place that they most commonly appear is based on scale degree 7, which is, if you form a triad, is scale degree 7 to 4 in both major and minor. This serves as a dominant function triad because it shares 2 common tones with 5 and all 3 common tones with 5, 7. So specifically, you have 7, 2, 4. So if you have a regular 5 triad, you have 2 and 7 in common. And if you have a 5, 7 chord, then all 3 are in common. The only difference is that it has a 5. So, like other chords that are related by a third, 7 can go to 5, but not vice versa. So rather than having all these x's and stuff, I've simplified this diagram where 1 can go to 6, 4 can go to 2, 7 can go to 5, 1 can go to 6, those third relations, and then tonic tends to go to predominant, tends to go to dominant, tends to go to tonic. Obviously, you can just skip straight over, and 4 is kind of the exception that goes backwards. Everything else is generally moving that away along the diagram. So when you're writing a 7 diminished triad, you really only see it in first inversion, because if you have it in root position, you have a diminished fifth above the bass, which is kind of gross, according to old white European men. First inversion, 2, 4, 7, you're all good there. No tritones above the bass. And then second inversion, second inversion, like we saw in the previous section, second inversion triads have specific uses, so you don't really see that. Also, you have an augmented fourth, which is also a tritone, above the bass. So that same interval above the bass, not great. So first inversion is your best bet, with 2, scale degree 2 in the bass. In terms of doubling in 4 parts, you don't double the root, because that would mean both of them have to resolve Sev 1, you get parallel octaves. You can double scale degree 4, not really preferred. Doubling the third, or doubling the bass when it's in first inversion, is great, because that's not a tendency tone. It doesn't need to resolve anywhere. When you're resolving, so 2, 4, and Sev has to go to 1, 4 likes to go to 3, resolving that augmented fourth outwards, or if you have 4 on top, then resolving that diminished fifth inwards. So we're looking at augmented fourth going to a minor sixth, or a diminished fifth going to a major third. I think I'm writing on another piece. Oops, we're fine there. 2 slightly prefers to go to 1, which results in good doubling in your 1 chord. It can also go to 3, or both if 2 is doubled. So that's what's going on there. So this is all that written out in notation. This should be major third, because that's a major third. So this first example, you have a diminished fifth, resolving into a major third. In measure 2, it's the augmented fourth, resolving out to the minor sixth. And then in minor, here's some more examples. So here, we have an augmented fourth, and we've moved both in the same direction to a perfect fourth. That's allowed, because 7 is still going to 1, and that allows us to have a fifth in our tonic triad. And here we have a diminished fifth going to a perfect fifth. You might think, parallel fourths, parallel fifths, what's going on? Why can we have parallel fifths? They're not both perfect fifths, so they're not actually the same interval. It's unusual because usually 4 would go down to 3, or flee in this case, resolve that diminished fifth inwards. This is also possible. It's less common. Sorry. So, in terms of using diminished chords in chord progressions, it's common to use it as a kind of a passing chord between 1 and 1, 6, having scale degree 2 in the bass. So it serves the same function as a passing 6-4 there. You can use it as dominant substitute between a predominant chord and tonic, so instead of 4, 5, 1, here you have 7 diminished 6. It's definitely not as strong without scale degree 5 in the bass, but it still has that tritone resolving to tonic. and you can use it leading to 5, as in kind of an incomplete 5-7 with the root appearing later. So here you have your 7 diminished 6, and then there's that root resolving to tonic. So those are 3 common places that you'll see a diminished triad. So go ahead, get some practice with that, and I'll see you next time.